did this ourselves.
They're coming. It can't be.
Where is everyone?
Hello, survivors. Welcome back to the Apocalypse Post. I'm your host, MakeShift. I've got a very special show coming up for you. So it's been a little while since we've done an actual talk episode of the Apocalypse Post. We did wrap up with Legends of Wasteland City for Season 1. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to create. Season 2 will be coming, I don't know, maybe this fall sometime. But I'm gonna stick around with the Apocalypse Post for a little bit and then kind of switch back and forth, if you know what I mean. Wait, if I say... if you know what I mean, does that make it sound sexy? I'm not sure. Anyway, moving on. Today, I'd like to talk about Wasteland Weekend. I mean, we talk about Wasteland Weekend quite a bit, but today we're going to talk about it very specifically from a video team perspective. And of course, anytime I talk about Wasteland Weekend, it's always from the video team perspective because I have been running it since the first day I set foot on that hallowed ground. But I'm going to bring in another one of the videographers from the crew to join me this week, just so we can get a little bit more in depth on just how the festival looks from someone who's running around with a camera in their hand the whole time. Basically, let's find out what it looks like through the lens of some digital piece of technology from before the fall. And in order to do that, I'm going to bring in, well, he's become a very good friend of mine at Wasteland, and he kicks ass. He's one of the hardest working people there. I know this because I see him work. And he's also he not only has been out there shooting with us, but he also has his own channel where he does his own Wasteland Weekend video edits. You may have seen some because they are awesome. They get shared like crazy, and they're honestly just really well produced. And well, I'm just going to bring him on because let's get talking to him. So, guys, welcome Justin Ramsey from Try and Fly Photography. Hello, Justin.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing so good. Well, I already told you, my dog last night had an upset stomach, so I didn't get much sleep. So bear with me a little bit. It was messy, and it was like every couple hours she would just wake me up, just scratching at the door, wanting to go out. And I was like, oh, what a good girl. I'm so glad she knows she needs to go outside. That's all.
Well, I mean, it reminds me of camping in the wastelands because you hear your neighbors scratching at the door all the time.
That's so true. Yeah, and that's kind of what it was like. It was like she made me go to bed late, and then she woke me up with some emergencies. Well, I mean, I actually sleep really well at Wasteland. It's crazy. Do you find that you can sleep through the night there? Once you're asleep?
Once I'm asleep, yes, because apparently I work my butt off throughout the day, and by the time I hit the pillow, I'm out.
Yeah, same. I have no problem going to sleep. And honestly, getting up too, it's really weird because I am a sleeper. I tend to sleep about 8 to 9 hours, get that government recommended amount of sleep. But at Wasteland, I think I'm getting 3 or 4 hours a night. And I wake up so energized, there's such an adrenaline going. Do you kind of have that same thing?
Absolutely. I mean, I hate the word, but the vibe is just so exciting and adrenaline pumping. And yeah, you go to bed late, you wake up early, and you're just ready to get at it.
Yeah. And, as I just hit 40 this past year.
I won't tell anyone.
But as a now middle-aged Wastelander, I'm not the 28-year-old that I was when I started. And honestly, in my day-to-day back home, my back it has a time limit on stuff.
Yep.
Right now I'm emptying my house, kind of packing to move, but we're actually just getting the floors done, but everything needs to get out. And I've got about 3 or 4 hours of moving boxes before I can't do it anymore. But at Wasteland, the back gives me a little extra room.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Room. Yeah. And I'm not the only one, because I know that there's a couple of warlords. I'm not going to say their names, but there's a couple of warlords in the Wasteland that they actually have knee and leg trouble and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And in the real world, they'll use canes or other apparatus to walk around, but at Wasteland they don't.
I think it's the skin walking around. You see some skin, and you're like, I gotta impress these people. No, I'm young, I'm youthful.
That could be a big part of it. Yeah, just trying to keep up with the young kids.
Absolutely. Damn.
I remember you. I think you know him, Doc Schofield, right, from Schofield's Drifters.
I've heard all the stories of Legends of Wasteland and all that stuff. I did
Yeah.
get to actually meet him this year, so
Oh, you did? I'm so glad. All right. So Doc Schofield, I interviewed him a few years ago, and I was very excited because he basically invited me into his camp. He wanted to show off their bar. It's super cool. I've talked about it several times on the show.
hmm
And the Schofield's Drifters, they're many, many people, but I primarily know two of them, which is Schofield and Digits. They're kind of the figureheads, the mutual figureheads of the tribe.
Yep.
And I interviewed him, and he's got some gray in his hair and in his beard, and he's a little bit older. I actually don't know, Doc. If you're listening, I apologize, but I think he's in his 50s.
We'll go with 41.
We'll
a
go
little
with
bit older
41.
than you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so, yeah, he's a year older than me. And I actually asked him, what's it like being an older Wastelander trying to keep up with these young guns? And I think I offended him a little bit because that man he makes it his mission to be the first up in his tribe and be the last awake in his tribe. Like, he busts his ass all Wasteland.
Nice.
So, yeah, it is interesting what it does to you.
He's also very involved. Like, every time I've seen him, he's active. He's doing something.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I guess, we have hope, Justin.
Indeed. And to go along with that point, there is an older couple. They come from somewhere on the East Coast all the way to Wasteland, and they didn't start coming until they were in their 60s. And I've only been 2 years to Wasteland, but I've seen them both years and got to chat with them. Lovely couple. But it's just, yeah, there's no age limit unless you're under 18. But
Yeah. Yeah. And just to kind of round that out, I'm going to also say that even though the desert, like this is the Mojave Desert, it is 100 degrees during the day. It can drop to 40 degrees at night. So the weather is a big deal on both ends. It's super dry. Alcohol hits you really hard. And for people that are combating any kind of like we call them spoonies, I believe is the term. Anyone that's battling kind of like an immune disease or has any kind of disability. There's a lot of people with disabilities at Wasteland. Like you see these like hybrid motorized off-road rigged like wheelchairs. People will kind of have different ways of getting around, but I'm always impressed with the lengths people will go to like participate in such a tough environment.
yeah. Well, not only that, but how much support there is from the Wasteland community of if they need help or including them, or there's no hesitation like, oh, I may not be able to make this because I'm, for example, in a wheelchair. No, Wastelanders, they'll get you there. They'll make sure you have fun.
Yeah, I saw Red Claw with the Skullduggers. He's in a chair, and I would watch him get stuck, and then like 20 Wastelanders would just surround him and give him pushes. It was just really cool.
Yep.
Yeah, and so it's a tough environment, and it's even tougher if you're trying to work and run around all day. I think I mapped out because I did the Wasteland Weekend, the aerial map again this year, and I mapped it out as a 1/4 mile in each direction, pretty much. Or I think it's like a 1/2 mile long north to south, and about a 1/4 mile wide, which doesn't sound like a whole lot until you're non-stop walking it.
Yep, and going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth.
And it's not like walking in the park. It's not soft ground. There's lots of rocks, which, walking on a rock or two, no big deal. Walking on rocks all day can really wear out your feet.
Yeah.
Your mountain dogs are tired.
It's also the stop every 3 steps and talk to someone or check out some art or look at someone's camp or do some random activity that involves push-ups and throwing, rock, paper, scissors against your enemies.
You're right. There's a lot of mental work too, and social work. Like it's not work. It's all fun, but all of it is kind of working against you, so that the week after Wasteland, you are in recovery mode.
Yeah, that's the only time I enjoy editing all my videos and footage and everything is so I can actually sit down and just. Bleh.
Oh yeah, that's great. See, now when I lived closer to Wasteland, I did get right to work. Like first off, in my early years, I had to what they call it, basically copy all my DV tapes. I had digital DV little cassette tapes that my camera used.
You are showing your age.
Yeah, well, we're going all the way back to 2011, and that's just what they were on. The best pro-zoomer cameras all used DV tape at the time. And so I would have to sit there in real time playing back these tapes and recording the footage into my computer to digitize it. And so that's what I would do first thing. And I would end up with like 20 tapes after a Wasteland. And I did that for 2 or 3 years before I switched cameras.
Wow.
So yeah, I still have boxes of DV tapes around here somewhere.
I don't doubt it. I still have some of mine from when I was a skater.
Oh, really? Nice. It kind of figures that you come from the skating side of things. Some of my favorite shooters actually came from like shooting skating.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I feel like, there were 2 camps of people that got cameras because they were very expensive and not great. So you actually, you had to put some coin down. But there were the film students and there were the skaters. I think no one else bought cameras at the time. That was it.
Yeah, pretty much. Unless you're just blowing money.
Unless you're a tourist or you family kind of stuff and you just wanted to shoot that. But the people that were like buying cameras to use them all the time, there were only 2 groups. And you're not the first skater I met that has made his way into filmmaking side of things.
Oh, good.
I love it. Have you ever thought about getting one of those like one wheels or an electronic skateboard to take around Wasteland?
So first of all, I was a fruit booter. I wasn't one of the really cool kids with a skateboard. I was a rollerblader. But yes,
a fruit booter? I've never heard that before.
You've never heard of fruit booting?
No.
Oh, come on, man. Now I'm showing my age. Jeez.
Fruit booter.
But yeah, no, I've definitely thought about a one wheel and stuff, and I've been offered vehicles and rides and stuff for the Wasteland events. But like we've talked about before in the Waste, there's so much that I capture, and that I'm sure you capture as well, on the way from A to B. There's so much that you just got to stop and shoot. Don't want to miss it.
Exactly. That's a big thing. Spud offered me a 4-wheeler a few years ago, and it was kind of I don't want to say it was an afterthought, but I got one of the last vehicles that were available that year, and he dropped it off in my camp. He was like, "All right, here's how you start it. Here's how you do this, and go." And that was the last time I saw him, because Spud is also very busy at Wasteland.
Yeah.
By the way, Spud owns, it doesn't own. He runs Black Thumb. They're a tribe that is basically just a bunch of car mechanics. They make some of the coolest rides out there, and not only that, but they bring all of them. I mean, it's a small tribe, and they've got multiple vehicles each. They also do the Black Thumb Meet, which is kind of an alternative to the Wasteland Car Show, but I would say just as popular. It's kind of wild.
I definitely agree. Just as popular. And the nice thing, I mean, all the Wastelanders I've met so far have been amazingly awesome, but Spud definitely takes that up a notch. He's so fantastic.
Yeah. He's incredibly giving. Very, he's never trying to spotlight himself. He's always like trying to hand some credit off to like someone else. He's a great dude, and he's been a huge help to the Wasteland community for as long as I've been going. Like, he was there building the front gates the first time I met him, and I went to interview him, and I could tell he wanted to talk, but he didn't want to be spotlit. Mm-hmm. And I really appreciated that. And there's a lot of Wastelanders like that don't get the credit they deserve. Anyway, but yeah, the Black Thumb Meet, and I know I'm kind of taking us off on different tangents here, but it's designed a little bit different. He said, at a typical car show, you get all the makers, and they're stuck at their cars because, they want to be there to answer questions, let people in, basically keep an eye on their vehicles to make sure no one's doing anything weird. But he designed the Black Thumb Meet to be more for the makers than for the audience. And so he said, line up your car, but then let's all walk around and talk about them. So it's just a little different. I think that's part of the popularity. Plus, it's actually in the city walls.
Yep.
So it's a little bit closer.
And the big truck that he has with a stripper pole on the bed doesn't
hurt. Yeah, that does. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a show going on when the Black Thumb Meet happens. It doesn't get as many cars as the car show, so the car show will never lack for popularity. But yeah, it's something different, and it's something fun. And, there's a lot of people that go for the cars, so it just offers another way to see the cars.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool. So we were talking about moving around. How did I get into Black Thumb? I don't even know. We're talking about Spud. Oh yeah, Spud was building. I'm trying to backtrack now.
Yeah, it's hard.
You know, it's pretty wild. If you're on Facebook a lot, and most of us of our age are, I didn't know Facebook wasn't cool anymore.
Yeah, try having 3 teenage girls in your house. You'll learn pretty quick.
Oh goodness, yeah. Teenage girls. So wait, are they just a few years away from coming?
So actually, they were supposed to come this last year. By the way, Tiana, thanks for trying to call me out on Facebook. I'm calling you out right here, right now. They were all supposed to come, but they just didn't make it. So hopefully next year, all of them will be there. Only one will be non-drinking age at that point. So
oh, gotcha.
It'll be interesting. Get them all sloshed and scantily clad and running around.
So you've got 3 between like 18 and 21? No.
18, 22 is the range now.
Oh my gosh. 18, 22. So yeah, practically 5 years, even though the math is 4. But yeah, that's awesome. That'll be really fun. Oh man, your Wasteland's going to be so different.
Oh, is it though? Because I have this boss, and he goes by the name of MakeShift, and he's always cracking the whip. Won't let me sit down or relax or anything. So
here's the thing, Justin. I don't think there is no slowing you down.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
I'll give you that one.
I mean, except for Tribes Night, and that was a lot of fun. I'm really glad that we did that.
Oh my gosh, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
I definitely paid for it, but it was so much fun.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, and this might be Wastelanders and non-Wastelanders alike, they've been allowing the tribes to come in as early as the Sunday before the event to start building, which means that a lot of the camps are actually built by Tuesday night. It used to be that the tribes could come in maybe a day or two early if they really had a lot to do. But by giving the tribes some extra time, it's made the whole build a lot easier because you get the weekend to do things. And so that means that by Tuesday night, the day before the event, a lot of the tribes are pretty darn close to being done. And when the sun goes down and the work stops, because it's really tough to work at night anyway, even though it's cooler and much, much more comfortable. Yeah. By Tuesday night, it's kind of like all the tribes are done and a little itchy. We're not going full bore by any means, but that's kind of preview night for all the camps. Like all the tribes will just kind of walk around and check out each other's stuff. Some of the bars will be open, not officially, just unofficially, and it's a lot of fun because it's basically the Wasteland core, and we're all just kind of hanging out. So it's like a who's who of the Wasteland tribes, and it's a lot of fun. And we get to hang out this year, yeah, it was great because we just started with a couple of drinks at the Dukes of the Nuke and just made our way around. And it was a lot of fun. What'd you think of that night? Like, it's kind of become a thing.
First of all, I absolutely love it. I think it's also nice that not necessarily that anyone is performing when the main gates open and the general public, so to speak, is allowed in, but it's a time where all the tribe members and stuff, they don't have to put on anything for anyone. There's no shows, there's no events. It's just all kicking back in the kitchen, hanging out, drinking brews. So I think that's freaking fantastic. One thing for me especially is I'm always behind my camera, and apparently I have this face that's not super approachable at all times. So my first year, I didn't really get to meet anyone because it was go, 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 go. So doing that night with you, actually getting to meet like some of the head honchos of the tribes and all that stuff and kick back and just, it was amazing because I actually got to talk to people and meet people.
Yeah, and actually take your time.
Yeah.
Because as video crew, and before I get into that, yes, you have a raider face. Like if you were in Fallout, you would be one of the raiders. Like you've got the shaved sides, you've got the mohawk that's colored, you've got a really cool look. But yeah, you're a bad guy.
Well, I've definitely heard many times that I look very unapproachable and intimidating. But for those of you that don't know me, it's all just because I'm focused. There's nothing. I'm very approachable in my opinion. I don't look it.
Yeah. Isn't it funny how that works sometimes? Because you're such a great guy, great to talk to, really friendly. you make space for people when you talk to them, because I've seen it. But yeah, it's just one of those things, I guess.
And that's why we're doing this audio only, right? You don't want to look at my mug. I get
Well,
you.
I don't.
I'm on to you. You can't backtrack it now.
Well, I didn't want to scare away the kids.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah. So yeah, when you're on the video crew, the important thing is to capture a little bit of everything. And that means moving around pretty quick. So, when I'm giving everyone the briefing each year, I'm like, get in, get your shots, get your wide, get your medium, get your close up. And this is just a bunch of video speak. Oh shit. My dog just jumped off my lap. Justin, give me 2 minutes to make sure she doesn't have to go outside.
Yeah, go for it, man. Raider jerky commercial.
Yeah, you can improvise whatever you want right now. I'll be right back.
All right.
And now, Justin improvises while Makeshift lets his dog poop.
Oh, geez, what to improvise? I don't know what to talk about. It's funny because they were doing, the night before we opened the main gates last year, they did a roast of Emissary, I believe his name was. And Makeshift, he puts me on the mic. He's like, I got to do some sound checks and stuff. Just go up there, improvise. I'm like, I don't even know who we're talking about, so I can't roast him. So I started shouting out like, oh yeah, Skulldaggers and the Hoff. Got to mention the Hoff. And I was just throwing out all these names, trying to make all these stupid jokes, talking about crabs and how, if you get crabs, they're curable, but they itch. So, scrub down hard in the waist. Stuff like that. It was good times. A lot of my jokes, I know you kind of had to be there for, but I do try. Yeah. So I will also take this moment, since Makeshift is checking on his dog. Volunteering at Wasteland is absolutely phenomenal. I recommend it to anyone and everyone. If it's your first year, if it's your third year, if it's you've gone every year, see if you can volunteer. Find a crew, get on them. A lot of them, you do have to have certain skills. So if you want to volunteer for medical, it's not just being CPR certified. You have to actually know your stuff sometimes. But try and get on a crew and help out. You get to meet people. You have a goal. You have great times. You get to know the insides and outs of some of the stuff. It's absolutely amazing, and I wouldn't replace it for the world. That being said, every single year, from what I understand, the trash pandas after the event that help clean up the site and all that stuff, too many of them bail. So if you volunteer, actually show up, do your volunteer hours, put in the muscle, sweat, tear, blood, and oil to help out, because it's an amazing opportunity that we get to go and experience the apocalypse. And we want to be able to do it for many apocalypses to come. So I definitely recommend volunteering, and I definitely recommend trash pandas. Yeah. What else to talk about? So, I say so a lot, just a heads up. Anyways, we had a couple guys on the video crew this year. One of them actually ended up breaking his arm right before the event started. He was on site. He was taking some photos and videos and stuff beforehand up on a hill. Sun went down. I'm sure the shots were magical, as they are. And
All right, so that's exactly... Oh, sorry. I was going to say that's exactly what it is. I need another minute, because when she comes in, she'll need a wipe down.
Hey, how about you get off my recording? I'm telling a story here.
Oh, fuck. Okay, sorry.
Jesus.
Please continue. There's poop everywhere, so Justin will continue his story.
So anyways, the videographer, he gets the shot, whatever. He starts coming down the hill, trips, and breaks his arm. And from what I understand, I wasn't there, but from what I understand, he's like, no, I hurt my arm. It's all right. I'll still film. I'll still pull out the week, all this stuff. And he went to medic, and they're like, you need to go see a doctor. So, he drove off site, went to the doctor, x-ray, all that stuff. Turns out it was a break. So we lost one of our video guys this year. I'm so glad that Makeshift actually edits these. Yeah, it's not my world. I like the visuals.
Looks like you're done.
Oh, thank God. Yes.
Okay, awesome. What I missed? Fill me in.
Basically, I was just telling about the video guy. I don't want to name his name just in case, but that broke his arm right before.
Oh, yeah, that was a rough one.
Yeah.
That was a rough one. And then the other guy, he was kind of a maybe from the beginning, but he ended up having to work that week. But he did come for the build, so he shot like crazy for the build, and then took off like on Tuesday night or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it was nice because I didn't have to film any of the pre-build.
Yeah. How'd that feel?
Oh, it was amazing. It was also my birthday, so I sat around in my tent naked and just let the breeze flow.
Birthday suit, I get it.
Oh, yeah. Which I am so jealous. I forget which tribe it was, but they put on a walk around the waist naked event. And I was like, ooh, I should go to that. And then it skipped my mind, and I'm like, dang it. I was actually going to put my camera down and do that.
Really?
Ah, well. Yeah.
In that case, I'm picking my camera up. I'm just kidding. Stuff like that, it's really interesting because it's kind of, that kind of thing is performed under the understanding that Wasteland's a safe place and you can kind of go beyond your normal comfort zone and not have a bunch of cameras pointing at you. Now, there's a lot of naked at Wasteland, but there's a couple different kinds, right? There's the kind where someone is actually performing something like that is meant to draw an audience. And then there's people that will walk around without certain clothing, just as more of like I'm in this safe place and I'm going to express myself a little differently than I do at home.
Yep.
And that's two very different people. So we try not to capture, the people that are just walking around being more relaxed than they normally would. Mm-hmm. But we will capture the people that are like on stage drawing a crowd.
Now that being said, the joys of editing, sometimes we capture those unknowingly because there's so much going on. And at least for me in MakeShift, we don't put that online. Like, we'll review the footage in our editing and we'll be like, oh, I didn't realize, said girl was topless. Well, I can't use that clip anymore. But
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And actually I've got, this is really cool. So did I show you this year's highlight reel? It's almost done. Well, yeah. I mean, it is done. We just haven't released it yet.
Yeah, you showed me the rough cut, and I've been very, very antsy.
Oh, yeah. So it's in Jared's hands. He's going to release it soon, which is actually, I'll probably wait to release this until that's released and release them both at the same time because it should be within days.
Nice.
But yeah, let's talk about it, actually. I'm gonna give you a new link right now. Let's just watch it together. All right, I got the link copied. So what you don't know, Justin, is this is a shortened version because we wanted something to be a little bit more shareable, and so we ended up shortening it a little bit. However, the long one is still coming, so don't worry about that. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go. 3, 2, 1, play.
Are we talking while this goes or just let it go?
Yeah, let's go for it. Yeah.
Okay, I love your transition from the muted, almost sepia tones to the full color.
Yeah, so we got those scenes that are kind of like, the original Mad Max characters, Road Warrior characters. Mm-hmm. And so I always kind of like to open it up with a little theatrics, if possible. And
absolutely.
That served the point perfectly. It's very traditional for me to start with the opening of the gates. Mm-hmm. I think every video starts with the opening of the gates because it's just like, it's a collection of all the coolest cars, costumes. Everyone's like really excited. So it's very important for me to just kind of like show as much of that as possible.
Yeah, for sure. See, that's one reason I like that we have both styles because you have more of the official, we got to do that. And I get to be like a little more quote unquote artistic, if that makes sense.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it was 2014 when someone else finally edited some stuff. That was the year Johan was on the crew, and he put together his own kind of like artistic view, and I was like, oh man, I want to make stuff like that. And so that's where the We Are Wasteland series came from, where you're kind of showing a little bit more of like the tender side.
Uh-huh.
Meanwhile, on the screen, we're watching Thunderdome, and it's
Right?
just people wailing on each other. Yeah, it's nuts, because I make it a point for these to go through absolutely all the footage. Like, every shot I scrub through, and I try to find the best of the best of the best, while also trying to show a little bit of everything that happens. Making sure to get at least a clip of every band, of every tribe possible. I try not to repeat people too much. Once somebody's in a clip, I try not to avoid them in the future, which is, it's so much.
Yeah.
But that's why it ends up taking so long, because I'm going through all the footage, like, clip by clip.
Yeah, my bad. So for those of you that don't know, I gave over a terabyte of clips to MakeShift
I saved you
this
for
year.
last, because I was like, Justin will fill in anything I don't have.
Yeah. But I will admit, like, this year, people kept changing outfits on me, and I didn't catch it. So there's a couple people I filmed a ton of because I didn't realize that they changed outfits and they're the same person. I just, visually, they looked awesome.
No, that's great. Then that's great. That counts.
Oh,
So,
okay, good. Cool.
all right. So what'd you think?
I freaking loved it. I mean, when you sent that to me for input a while back, I about peed my pants. Like, I watched it with the lady, and I was basically hopping up and down and so excited.
Yes.
And
Awesome.
so,
Awesome. And using that song, so that's actually a Dead Animal Assembly Plant song. And I'm so happy I find, like, I've been wanting to use them for a little while, but they can hit a little bit too hard sometimes for, like, this isn't a corporate video by any means, but it's definitely like, it's a business video in a way. And sometimes, their stuff is a little too heavy metal, but, I was just really digging in on some of their library. And I found this song, Be the Decay, and I was like, man, this thing is so fun. It kind of sounds like 9 Inch Nails to me, which is probably something they might be going for. I don't know. But yeah, it just has a really good sound. It's got some rock, it's got some metal, it's got some, like, electronica going on, and it definitely fits the vibe. And those guys put on one hell of a live show.
oh my God, it's amazing. I tried to save an entire card and a full battery just for their show because it's amazing. Of course, I couldn't stop hitting record, so I didn't get that. But it's phenomenal. I mean, I like metal on occasion, but it's not really my go-to music by any means. But I still love watching them and just being in that atmosphere that they put on. Oh,
yeah, it's really fun to see. Like, we've got a lot of bands that have come to play the Wasteland stage over the years, and there's just some that like are more Wasteland than you could ever imagine.
Absolutely.
Attack jumps up there, and they have, like, the very Mad Max kind of look going on. The very like desert colors and kind of like they're wearing rough clothes. And then Dead Animal Assembly Plant gets up there, and they're very much like the desert punk. They've got a little bit more color going on, but they're still, like, super tattered, way over, like, costumed.
Yeah.
With, like, full-on face paint. Everyone's wearing full face paint, and it's just, they're very physical and vibrant, and they put on a hell of a show.
Yeah, I mean, they look amazing. They sound amazing. Their stage presence is amazing. And going back a little bit, one thing I absolutely love about all the Wasteland bands that I've heard is some of them, I mean, you can have country singers out there.
Yeah.
Some of them write and perform songs specific to Wasteland or the apocalypse or whatnot. Some just have that feel. Some, it's very eclectic of all the styles and song lyrics. That's not the word I'm looking for, but
Yeah.
it's just eclectic, and it matches for anyone and everyone. And that's one thing I love about Wasteland. It doesn't matter if you're super punk or super metal or super, go-go dancer girl. Everyone is welcome.
Yeah, totally. We've even had that Irish band out there, Dublin Rain, which I think they do more like traditional Irish music most of the time. But at Wasteland, they dress appropriately and they sing songs about wasted things. And plus, like, sometimes the old traditionals can sound very Wastelandy anyway. I mean, when you look at, like, Fallout, it's a lot of traditional songs that they use in their soundtrack, and it gives that vibe, right?
Yeah.
Like that old world forgotten kind of tone. which I think is super cool. And anytime you hear like Fallout or an old song at Wasteland, it definitely feels appropriate because it makes you feel like, some time has been skipped.
Absolutely. And it's just the simplisticness of it, but the emotions behind it all and stuff. It's no Justin Bieber game. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't had much pop at Wasteland, which is, what would Apocalypse Pop sound like? I guess it would be like Imagine Dragons.
Yeah, I could see something like that going down.
Pop? Would it just be A-pop? Would that count?
I hope not.
Yeah. Oh, man. So I've been working on this cover of a Imagine Dragons song, Radioactive, where I rewrote all the verses as rap. And I think it's going to be great. I haven't recorded it yet, but it should be coming soon. Yeah, it's going to be wild. I've actually been really having fun writing music.
Good.
Ever since basically last Valentine's Day, I've written a whole album of like Wastelandy tunes, which is nuts. And I'm recording 5. Well, I've got 5 already started, and probably 10 or 12 or 13 like ready to go. But it's been a lot of fun, and that stuff's going to come out soon. By the way, guys, if you go over to my Linktree, I don't even think it's up there yet, but someday, if you follow my Linktree, there will be MakeShift music on there, and there will be some songs to find. But I'll let you know when they're ready. But yeah, I actually got to perform on the Dukes of the Nuke stage this year for the first time, some live music, and that was a lot of fun.
Somehow I missed it. I think I was busy elsewhere. Weird.
Yeah, you probably were, because when I'm slacking off, you pick up the slack, which for this Wasteland was all Wasteland. And honestly, it's been great because I had spent 10 years running around nonstop. Basically shooting for 14, 16 hours a day, kind of like you do now. But over the last 2 years, I did something a little different. And I got to say, Casper, a guy who's a member of the Wasteland Communication Corps, last year, he made his like pocket schedule for the first time. And, it's a pretty simple idea. He took the official schedule and he took the unofficial like tribe event schedule, and he put them all in one PDF doc that you could print out, staple together, and you get this little book in your pocket that has the full schedule. And I was like, wait a second. What if for the first time ever, rather than telling my videographers to just go shoot whatever the hell they want at all times, and I cover basically everything, what if I scheduled people so I knew there was going to be at least one person at each thing, and then I don't have to go unless somebody like can't make it, or I'll fill in the gaps. Mm-hmm. And it worked. I couldn't believe it worked.
I will admit that thing is beautiful. I still use mine from each year because like I'll go back and I'll edit. I'm like, what day was this on? And I'll still pull out that little thing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh, yeah, that's when it was. And I know where to look. It's amazing. I still use it year round.
Totally. And I was able to use it because I've got my master, which had everyone's initials next to the event that they shot. Mm-hmm. Or were at least supposed to shoot. And I can go back, and that helps me find footage. So, yeah it was super invaluable. And it allowed me to do less shooting and more just kind of managing, which most of the management happens, the first day. Mm-hmm. When I'm getting everyone scheduled and like situating all the newbies that are shooting for the first time. And then I was able to do like some special projects and basically, kind of Wasteland a bit harder. Yeah. So for the last 2 years, I've been participating like I've never have before. And here's the weird thing, Justin. I think I want to shoot more.
Uh-oh. Because you all heard it here first.
And here's part of it. When I'm shooting, I'm out visiting all the tribes kind of one by one, like quick interactions, saying hi, seeing what's going on. But then when I have the camera down, I do kind of like spend more time in camp or go visit very specific camps that I have close friends in and spend a lot more time there just hanging out, which is not a bad thing. I'm very grateful for the extra time I get with everybody. Mm-hmm. But I missed like a lot of camps that I didn't get to go see personally.
Yeah. Well, how about this? Next year, you'll be my assistant, and I'll just send you on errands.
Okay, yes, you're in charge. You're taking over.
Whoa. I'm not taking over. I'm just,
Yeah. Well, tell you what, we'll tag each other in. We'll be like tag team wrestlers.
There you go. I
Yeah.
wasn't gonna go with wrestlers, but sure. We'll keep it G-rated.
Yeah. So if I find you, yeah, it's a big game of tag. If I find you and tag you, you have to go shoot, and then I'll run away. And then when you find me, then we switch off.
I'm gonna have to have a team of scouts.
Yeah. It is funny though, like looking through your footage, it reminds me of the footage that I got before you joined the crew, because it's just everything always. Like I noticed you went from main stage where you shot one of the bands, and then you jumped over to Thunderdome, and then back to the stage, and then you ran over to like the RC cars, and then back to the stage. Like I remember doing this to try to capture everything and not wanting to plant my feet too long in any one spot because I might miss out on something.
Absolutely. I was going to bring that up when I was going over my head, this year about how much I was like, okay, I need to move on, but I want this shot, but I need to move on and see something else. And it's very easy to like get tunnel vision on one particular shot. Like for me, it's the dildo toss at the Uncle Zeke's.
Oh yeah, you did spend quite a bit on that.
The Olympics, because my first year, I got one of my favorite shots I've ever done. And this girl spins and she chucks a dildo in slow motion, and it's a gorgeous shot. And I remember so much time basically trying to recreate that this year that I missed out on so much. I felt I spent too much time on the Olympics, but
that's hilarious.
I mean, every once in a while, you just got to spend an hour or two looking at dildos, I guess.
Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, sex toys are a very common prop at Wasteland, and they're used, I would say, for humor mostly, like 90% for humor.
Yeah.
Like there's the dildo toss, which it's funny to watch, like a 250-pound bodybuilder pick up a double-sided dildo and toss it as far as he can. Like that's funny.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the Hogs Camp, I don't think they did it this year and not even last year, but I'm sure they're going to bring it back at some point. They call it the Skag races. I think that's right. Slag?
Slag, I think it is. I looked for that both years and I've never found it. I've been anxious to shoot that.
Yeah, I don't think they've had it either year, but basically it's like these little bullet vibrators that are all kind of the same size and shape that are decorated in theme to whatever tribe they're representing. And there's like this racetrack that they slide down because the vibration that makes them slide down this metal racetrack. And they've got a whole tournament chart, and it's bouts of 8 of them against each other, and it draws a ridiculous crowd because it's an awesome show. So yeah, there's always some toys running around. Sometimes you'll see like a floppy dildo like stick to the front of a truck as its what do you call it? The emblem up on front?
Hood ornament?
Yeah, as a hood ornament.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hanging out the tailpipe.
Yep, and sometimes they're just being gifted around. Hopefully they're not used. Hopefully, you know what? I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's out there spending $80 on something to throw in the dirt. So hopefully they're cleaned.
Not.
Hopefully they're cleaned. Because those things are not cheap.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not something you pick up at Goodwill either. So.
Oh my God! I almost legitimately took my coffee over here. Wow.
Well, I do what I can.
That's a really good point. Yeah. Yeah, actually, now I'm wondering, and I'm not going to ask anybody. Hey, is that thing used? Is that new? No.
Yeah, no. Sometimes. Go ahead.
I was just going to say something to be aware of, that anything's possible.
Yeah, it's funny because of course I do highlight reels of my own, and I definitely shoot it because I think it's fun and awesome and funny. It was very interesting showing my mother-in-law Wasteland videos because she is very church driven, if you will. And I'm like, oh yeah, there's some drinking and there's some skin, completely forgetting about the dildo shots. And then they come up, I'm like, oh.
How'd that go?
It went over better than I expected. It was one of those, I'm not going to bring it up and they aren't either. Okay, good. We'll just keep on going.
There's this meme out there online, and it had been adjusted for Wasteland, and it said something like, oh, tell me about Wasteland Weekend. And then the character, the character's response is, all right, fine, but you're going to have to get real cool about a lot of shit real quick.
Yep.
And that is pretty darn true. But the fun thing is, like, it's all, like, even the stuff that is, a little bit distasteful, which there's a little bit, but it's all kind of done in fun. And for the most part, I don't think anyone is getting really uncomfortable about things. But then if they do, you can always just walk away. There's always some other camp to go to.
Absolutely.
Right.
And it's nice because it's never meant to make anyone uncomfortable. It's never
exactly
meant to hurt anyone. And that's one thing about Wastelanders that I've met so far. Everyone is so open-minded and non-judgmental. It's like, oh, you're into this? Not my thing, but cool. Come on over. Let's have a drink.
Yeah. And Wastelanders have actually adapted over the years as well to kind of like, mold with the times of the biggest thing I've seen is like consent being like part of the culture. And so, there's kind of this overarching rule of like consent for touching, even hugging. And part of that came from, post-pandemic.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the casino, they've always had their spin the wheel. And you could win caps or you could win a free drink or a couple of the things were like butt taps. That was a fun one. And the casino would all run over and just kind of give you little butt taps. So imagine like 8 people slapping your butt. But then
21st birthday party all over again.
Really?
No, but it made it for a good joke. Jeez.
Yeah, sounds like a great party. But yeah, I think it was pretty quick. Like the first year, it was just kind of like, you were consenting to spin the wheel. But then over the time, if you got butt taps, they would either say, are you okay with this? Or do you want to spin again? And I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Because then you don't have to like, consent your way out of having the fun to begin with. You can just kind of let people know what your limits are. And I think that's very ubiquitous across the entire event.
I agree full-heartedly.
So yeah, what else? So from a video perspective, we get to do a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. We get to go backstage. A lot of tribes will allow us into their towers and other places that the general attendee public aren't allowed in. And you get access to a little bit of like Wasteland behind-the-scenes stuff, although, obviously a lot of the stuff is just kind of the boring clerical stuff, like security and medical issues, and when's the water truck coming, and managing the local departments and all that kind of stuff. It's not very sexy, so it doesn't tend to make the cut.
Yeah, like Portos. I don't know why they might not make the cuts.
Oh man, yeah, exactly. But what's your favorite like? Because I don't want to say it's VIP access, but it's definitely like it's an all access pass that we basically get, and that doesn't mean that you actually get to access everything, because you still have to get allowed by tribes into their back areas or up their towers or behind the scenes of stuff. But what is your favorite like place you found yourself because the camera was in your hand?
So I don't know, it's a weird one. One of the ones was up on the they were right across the street from the casino.
That's the
tower.
Caution Tape Carnival.
There you go, Caution Tape Carnival. They pulled me up there for sunset at the very top of the tower. I was chatting with a guy, I think his name was Spartan, and
awesome.
For a while, and it was awesome and stuff. But I think one of the coolest things about access with the video camera and whatnot is for the smash bots, the robots hitting each other and stuff.
Oh yeah,
I had shown up late, obviously. And I was like trying to get in and around and like hold the camera up above everyone. And people were like, no, get in here. Get up to the front. You need to get this shot. And
yes.
Like, but I'm going to block your view. They're like, I don't care. Do it. I was like, okay.
Awesome. So and you got some great shots of Smash Bots. They put on a hell of a show. I've been neglecting them because they're always kind of in a weird spot.
It is a little weird off.
Yeah. If I had input, I'd move a few things around. But yeah, they put on a great show, and the halftime show that you captured. Holy good God. What the hell was happening?
I'm going to keep this one G-rated and not say too much. No, well, that was interesting because, I mean, even though people pushed me towards the front, I was definitely like basically stage left as far as I could go. I was almost at the performer entrance, if you will. But they had like a boxing match, hot ladies going around with round 1, round 2, whatever.
Yeah.
guys, girls, it didn't matter as long as someone was out there having fun. But there was the grinding where they grind like their cleavage or their
and that's with
the
the electronic tools, right? The actual grinders, and they're wearing metal so it sparks.
Yep. And I mean, they're shooting sparks all over people. I mean, they're obviously okay with it. They've given permission. They've practiced their "don't try this at home, kids" type of thing. But yeah, it was just fantastic to see, and like the lap dances on the barrel and the spankings and it's just not only awesome to witness but awesome to film because of the sparks and the fire and the lighting. It's just
and there was a lot of color.
Awesome. Oh,
yeah, they had more color than most of the tribes. Like it was really punchy.
Yeah, and honestly, they had better lighting than the main stage this year.
The main stage has always suffered from not the best lighting.
Yeah, but I mean, last year they had a lot more power. This year I was struggling to get some good main stage. That's why I don't have a lot of band footage this year.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's always a struggle, and I don't know exactly why. The first thing I would do, and this is coming from, the guy who lights things for a living, is actually put up a lighting tower at the mixing booth and do more front lighting. Like I think it's always the biggest thing is they have a ton of lights on the stage. Mm-hmm. But once those performers cross over to the front stage, like, there's always that, what am I looking for? The catwalk that sticks out a little bit from the stage. It's all in black. There's no light there. And so once they're up there doing their best audience interactions, they're gone. But yeah, in the past, they had those two big spotlights that they put on the car, but the car's not there anymore. I don't know what happened to the car. It probably just literally fell apart because it was an actual rusted piece of garbage. Yep. And so the front lighting's just always lacked, and I wish I could fix that. Actually, one year I walked up and I was like, "Hey, so last night's performances. This is on Friday. I really couldn't capture anything. Could you guys turn these lights on?" And I think it was Shane. Shane used to do a bunch of the. He was a Tribe Soundbite. He used to do a bunch of the sound and lighting. And this year, I think he was just doing lighting, and he was like, "Thank you. I was waiting for somebody to ask because they told me not to turn them on unless somebody asked." And I was like, "What do you mean? What? Come on. I can't shoot this shit." So yeah, the first night it was all black. Like it was just everyone's backlit. And then the next night I could at least capture something, even though it was just kind of plain white. But yeah, you need a different set of lighting if you're planning on shooting than if it's just for the audience. Yeah. Because it needs to be a little bit brighter than you would want it. Like at a restaurant when they turn the lights off at night and it's just like it makes the vibe super sexy. Well, sometimes that's what they go for in live shows. It's like keep it dim and sexy. But the cameras, I mean, cameras have gotten so much better in the last decade. But still, like if you can keep that ISO low, it just makes it so much better.
So for people that don't know, like even big Hollywood movies with the super, super expensive cameras, their nighttime shots is as bright as day on set.
Yeah.
So the more light, the better. And I wish people understood that, but I also understand if we were to do that, you'd blind out the audience and be like, what the heck is going on here?
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Especially since the stage is so far from the city, because the city's gotten brighter and brighter every year. Like all the tribes kind of bring more light. And so your eyes can adjust to that pretty well. But yeah, the stage is kind of on its own. So it would be like this, comet in the sky, kind of in the middle of the dark. And so, yeah, it would be a bit of a shock. But I still think we could probably get a little bit more light on there.
Anyway, I think so. Definitely.
Anyway, yeah, I'll send in my notes.
I will say, without the wind, if the fires are actually going and popping off, it definitely adds. And that makes it so much nicer visually to film.
Totally.
But understandable, if the wind's bad, then we don't get to light things on fire.
I know.
Stupid safety stuff.
Yeah. What if we had like an LED backup that looked like the fires were going, but they were really just like, just LEDs?
Because then you get rolling shutter, and I hate rolling shutter.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good point. It can be pretty rough. Anyway, yeah, now we're getting into the real, videographer BTS.
Yeah. And trust me, we could go on for hours. In fact, we have while not recording. But
exactly. Yeah, want to talk about dust real quick in your gear? Let's not do that.
Yeah, no, I do not.
There's so much dust.
So much pain.
So, yeah, don't switch lenses in the wild.
Yeah.
That's why you carry around like 3 cameras.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah, I usually roll with my primary camera, and then I have my GoPro usually on me. And then I also have my full spectrum infrared camera for still shots.
Oh, shoot. I don't think I saw any of those yet.
Yeah, you have. I sent you some. You aren't shot in infrared.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Now I need to find this stuff because I need to see what it does.
All right. Well, you keep talking. I'm going to find it on my phone.
Okay, cool. Well, I don't know what to talk about. I'm the host. I have no idea. I'm supposed to be... So, did you find it already?
No, I haven't. Not yet. It's very easy for me to find. But one thing I did want to bring up is the Hoff tribe. First of all, they're amazing, and they do floor burgers. And if you don't know what floor burgers are, make sure you get your ass to Wasteland Weekend, find Hoff immediately, and ask about floor burgers. That's all I'm
curious about floor burgers.
But there's one person in there that always appreciates my photography and my videography because I'm not, quote unquote, focusing on only the pretty people. You know, I shoot everyone and whatnot. And I wanted to say to every attendee, you guys are all beautiful. You're all unique, and it's amazing to shoot you guys. And it's not, picturesque magazine style people that I personally look for. I always try to include a healthy array of body types and people and interests when I do my reels. I really try to say this is for everyone.
Yeah.
If you have body issues or self-confidence issues or whatnot, there's a lot of people that go out and do like a boudoir dance on stage somewhere to get over that fear. And I think it's freaking amazing, and I absolutely love it.
Oh,
and I
absolutely.
love that we get to film it. So
yeah, totally. Yeah, and that's something that we've concentrated on in the video crew over the years too, is just making sure that everyone gets a chance to be in there. And we do those long rolls, and people have mentioned that they're really happy about the long rolls, where we just set a camera up and just like let it roll for 20 minutes or an hour at a time, and just we call them like X hours in Wasteland City or X hours in Main Street. And people say like, oh cool, you get to see some of the more basic costumes that way, because a lot of times when we're talking about the event or advertising it, you want to show some of the best looking costumes that are out there because they get that X factor, right?
Yep.
But there's also, a lot of people that aren't necessarily costumers or coming for the first time. And a great costume takes a long time to do. And don't forget, there are professional costumers and professional models out there that, this is what they do. So they've had the chance to work on their stuff. And so a lot of people don't realize that, Wasteland Basic is totally fine. And I can never stress enough that Wasteland Basic is just like regular clothes, no jeans. Don't do jeans. Like 3 people have ever pulled off post-apocalyptic jeans. It just always looks like, you just
it might as well
came
be
in off the
high
street.
vis orange.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it always sticks out. It is doable, but it takes extra work. But if you wear a pair of like cargo pants or like camouflage something, or even like dress slacks, and you wasteland them, and by wastelanding I mean you tear them up, you dirty them up. You can use spray paint, you can use Fuller's Earth and some spray glue.
Or what I do is just get some spray paint, spray it on while it's still wet, rub it in the dirt.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And it makes the dirt stick, and it adds that extra layer. I like to wear my wasteland clothes while I'm working on my car or working around the house, just to get like natural wear and tear and schmutz on them.
And then if you need to, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say it's super effective because like you're just wiping your hands in the places you would naturally be doing. The knees naturally wear out where they're supposed to. The pockets naturally wear out because you're actually using them. So anyway, you can totally get away with it.
And the beauty of that is if they do need to be sewn or repaired, it just adds that much more. So might as well.
Yeah. All right, so what were you going to say?
Well, that was what I was saying when we were talking over each other because we're, pathetic like that. But I wanted to say Wasteland Basic is fine, but I challenge everyone to do Wasteland Basic +1.
Yes.
So don't just stop. Oh, I've got Wasteland Basic. Okay. Like think about it. And each year, add a little bit more. Add a little bit more. And then all of a sudden you've got a kick-ass costume or camp setup or something that's mind-boggling, and everyone that is now showing up for the first time, like, where did you start? Well, I started with Wasteland Basic, and I got +1.
Yeah. Yeah. And, for me, a little bit of it is like tell a story. And there's a lot of different ways to think about that. So like if I'm wearing like my jacket, that's pretty ubiquitous with MakeShift at this point. Like there's spots in there that I've torn a hole in and then repaired, because everyone would have to be able to like repair your clothes because there's no new clothes, right? Mm-hmm. And so those tears and repairs kind of tell that story of, well, something happened and then I fixed it, moving on. But also, as you spend time at Wasteland, there are no jewelry stores and there are no like malls to go get stuff at. So, you kind of you collect things over the years. Like people share patches and stickers and trinkets and all sorts of stuff. So you start planting that on your costume and it'll add so much depth to it over time.
Yep. I try and add one little tiny thing each year. Yeah. I have to keep my outfit pretty functional, however, so I can carry all my camera gear and stuff. Totally. So I can't get too carried away, but yeah, I definitely like to add one thing at a time here and there.
Yeah. All right. So I got a question for you, because this is something that comes up every year. So if every year when the highlights reel comes out, there's always someone that's like, oh, another highlights reel and I'm not in it, which I always feel bad about, because it's almost impossible to include everybody. There's 4,000 people at Wasteland, and we can maybe highlight a couple hundred people, like actually highlight them in the reel. But what would you say to somebody that like just really wants to, get featured in the reel, get a shot of them? What can they do to catch our eye?
For me, attention to detail. So like on one of my videos, I think it was my first year, this guy had glasses made out of forks. And I caught that on a whim and I filmed it just because I thought that was super interesting.
Oh, yeah.
So attention to detail is definitely a big, big thing for me, and going full out. You don't have to, but it definitely helps. Now, I will admit, on, was it Saturday's opening gates ceremony, I try to specifically just film people, headshots or three-quarter shots, if you will, trying to showcase as many people as I can snag.
Yeah, awesome.
So, but yeah, that goes into, if you see me pointing my camera at you, flip me off, smile, do something. Don't like, who is this creep?
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, it's kind of wild because, sometimes like when you're at a wedding or something and the camera team points at you, they're almost always going for candids, right? But at Wasteland, we're not looking for candids. We're looking for people that are going to interact with that camera quite a bit. I mean, sometimes you just want a crowd shot and you don't want anyone looking at you, just kind of flipping you off. Like, oh my God, if everyone always knew we were shooting, it would just be a bunch of birds in every direction.
Yep.
But the people that like look at the camera, point their weapon, make a face, strike a pose, the camera loves that. So anytime you can just, be doing something or be interacting. Yeah, don't shy away from the camera. We love when people interact with it. That's for sure.
Absolutely. But don't also go out of your way to make it super awkward about it. Be natural. Don't run across the field shouting, "Hey, film me, film me!"
Totally. Yeah, and I've honestly over the years, like people have kind of casually come up to me while I was shooting something else and just be like, "Hey, you're with the video crew, right?" I was like, yeah, MakeShift. And they'll have a quick conversation. Love your stuff. I had this idea. Can I just get a quick shot? And I was like, oh, hell yeah, let's do it. Like, I'm always looking for great ideas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or for someone to be like, hey, I want to pose with this car. Will you get a quick shot of me? Stuff like that. My head is a cloudy blur at Wasteland. So if someone says, hey, I got this idea, chances are very good I'm going to be like, yeah, let's do that.
Absolutely. And it gives us a second to breathe and like set up the shot and like, okay, and go.
Yeah.
Not constantly looking like what's going on over there. What's over there? Have I shot this already? I don't know.
Totally. So you camped in Tent City again this year, right?
Absolutely.
What was your experience with that? I've never camped in Tent City.
Well, you don't know what you're missing, sir.
Tell me why.
I absolutely love it. First of all, I mean, the quiet. I do like the quiet every once in a while, so I can like just sit down and like veg. kind of think about the day and relax and decompress a little bit. One of my big things is there's so many awesome people that are not Wasteland veterans in Tent City.
Yeah.
You have so many more newbies, so many more people that love the atmosphere and maybe are a little more shy or whatnot. Because, I mean, in the city walls, most everyone has been going for a while or involved with a tribe that has been there for a long time. So it's nice to meet people and talk with them that maybe they're a little hesitant to even just go into the city walls, or they want to like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Like, hey, come over here, have a drink. We'll talk. Doesn't have to be about Wasteland. It could be about whatever, and then I'll see you on the inside at some point. And I don't know. I love the interactions. I love the people, and I love the fact that I have a little more space out there.
Yeah, gotcha. And I'm sure that you've been getting recruitment proposals from a lot of tribes in the city, my own included.
Yeah, I have a few. I definitely have. I think I'm up to about 4 or 5. Hey, you should join our tribes at this point.
Which is always great. I get that too. Like, I've been a Duke since 2012. Mm-hmm. But I'm an honorary member of many other tribes, WCC and Skullduggers included. And of course, I feel like I'm a member of a tribe when I visit most of the tribes because everyone's always super hospitable.
Oh, yeah.
Always offering like food and drink everywhere I go. So it's really, really fantastic.
Absolutely. I love the fact that this applies for most people as well, but you can walk into any camp and just kind of tuck back in a corner like, I need a drink. I need a break.
Yeah. Totally.
This feels like home.
And then you're like, oh, you guys have been so hospitable. Let me take some quick photos of you.
Yep.
You always feel like that's the gift you give somebody. Let me just capture some footage real quick.
Absolutely. Like everyone's like, oh my gosh, you're amazing. Or, come up and like, blah, 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 blah. And like, I want to give you a gift. Smile.
I love it. But that is a gift. It really is because a lot of people, myself included, forget to get images or a video of themselves there. I forget year after year to like just shoot my tribe. I made one of my challenges to myself was to get portraits of everybody this year for like our different stuff. And it just didn't happen once again. So yeah, it's pretty interesting how you can definitely gift somebody like just getting a picture or some footage that they can find later.
So along those lines, basically it was mainly TK and I, but every time we saw each other in the waist, it seems we were shooting each other. Like I would try and snag a candid. TK, for those of you that don't know, is one of the heavy hitters on the photo team. Yeah. I would be filming him or taking a snapshot of him or whatnot. And then I'd be filming and he'd, catch me and I'd like look over at his lens. I'm like, yep, he's shooting me. I'm shooting this. But it's nice because all the video and photo team, from what I've experienced, loves each other, and we all shoot each other in the waist.
Oh, absolutely.
Pop by and we say hi or good shot or good angle or whatever. And it's awesome. I love the camaraderie of the film team and let's just say the media team, as well as the general public.
Oh, totally. All right, so I did get this photo you sent over, the infrared photo, to bring it back to that. I didn't realize that this was infrared. I thought it was just a black and white version of, because didn't you get this in color as well?
So I don't have the normal photo of this. I have I got to remember which one I sent you. I have a couple thousand each year. So yes, that is in infrared. I have one that is a little bit more monochromatic. And then cool. I have one from the costume contest on main stage with my normal camera that is black and white.
Oh, okay. So that's probably what I'm thinking of. Yeah, this is really cool. So Justin just sent me, it's actually a photo of me operating my camera, and it kind of looks like a sepia tone almost, like an old 40s film, and it definitely has its own vibe, but it's not like, sometimes infrared makes things look inverted, so it doesn't have that effect. But it looks really cool.
I mean, I could go super scientific and go into nanometers and all that jazz. I'll keep it simple for everyone that doesn't know, but basically you have your visible light spectrum that humans can see. And we'll just say that is 3 through 7. Now, 1 and 2 would be ultraviolet, which humans cannot see. And then 8, 9, 10 would be infrared, which again, humans can't see with the naked eye. So I have but
you can feel those.
Ooh,
Right? You can feel infrared as heat.
a little bit. There are a little bit more thermal properties to infrared and stuff. I mean, they use it in cookers, and Predator has thermal,
Right.
infrared vision, yada, yada, yada. But, so yeah. And that is why one of the reasons I named myself Spectrum for Wasteland. So,
That's
because
right.
people say I'm absolutely everywhere,
Yep.
and I shoot with a full spectrum camera as well. So, there you go.
That's pretty brilliant. That's a good Wasteland name.
Thank you. I like it.
And I always forget to call you that. We need to change it because I was Mike Darling for a long time at Wasteland.
Mm-hmm.
And shoot, did I even have a Wasteland name at first? I don't think I did. But because I was doing the videos, everyone knew me as Mike Darling, the video guy.
Mm-hmm.
But then I've been pushing MakeShift now for, oh boy, a long time. And it's
Well,
finally like people know me as MakeShift, not as Mike. So that's good. It takes a while.
Yeah, every time I bring up that I'm talking to you, to the girlfriend or whatnot, I'm like, oh, just talking to the MakeShift. If I were to say Mike, she'd be like, who? The fuck is that?
Yeah. And yeah, I guess let's talk about Wasteland names real quick for people that don't know about them. So I think this goes back a long way. It's not a Wasteland thing, but having festival names or even having like club names for people in like the goth scene and that kind of thing has been a long-standing tradition. And it allows you to like create a persona that is not your everyday. If you're going to the clubs a lot at night, you don't want people necessarily knowing your bank manager name.
Yep.
But it allows you to take on that persona, have a little bit of anonymity if you want it. But also it just kind of helps you kind of jump into the role play of things.
Mm-hmm.
And so Wasteland took that on like almost right away because a lot of people came with their names from other events like Burning Man and that kind of thing. But yeah, a lot of people ask, how do you get your name? And there's a few different ways to do it.
So I'm going to interject.
Yeah.
On the way back from Wasteland this year, I stopped right as I crossed into the Arizona border, found a bus, school bus. I'm like, I'm pretty sure those are Wastelanders. I don't know. So I went up, talked to them. We did the Wasteland exchange, all that stuff. And we got to talking about names and all this stuff. And one of their first years, his nickname is now Dirt Nap because apparently
that's a good one.
He was partying at Uncle Zeke's all night, drinking heavily and whatnot. And he decided that, he was done for the night. So in the middle of the dance floor, which is, of course, sand, he just lays down and passes out.
Oh, my gosh.
Dancers are still dancing all around him, all this stuff. So I dare you top that as a Wasteland story of how you got your name, because stuff like that is amazing.
That is fantastic. Yeah. I think the military is one of the biggest places where you get bequeathed a name.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's not a cool one. Sometimes it's more of an embarrassing thing that happens. And that is definitely one of the ways to get your name at Wasteland is to do something stupid and then get a name from it. Another way is to do something really cool, like shooting all spectrum photography and and have that stick. But a lot of people just make up their own too. Like there's no rules. Mm-hmm. A lot of people will tell you have to earn your name. I don't necessarily agree with that because the name I earned was not one that I wanted.
Mm-hmm. I feel like there's a story about that.
Well, I mean, it's not even that. Yeah, it is actually kind of funny. I'll tell the story real quick. So I went to Uranium Springs for detonation in 2014. And basically solo. It was me and my sister. She goes by Lettuce, which is also kind of a fun name story. And I'll tell that one. Actually, I'll tell that one real quick because it's part of this. So someone at detonation said, you have iceberg eyes, because she's got beautiful like baby blue eyes. Mm-hmm. And so the Swede, who loves to give people names, said, oh, like lettuce, like the lettuce, like iceberg lettuce. And so then she just became Lettuce.
That's awesome.
which is a very weird name for a Wastelander, but she was like, yeah, okay, I'm Lettuce. But yeah, the Swede also gave me my other name that I like to bury in the dirt. But I mean, it's kind of funny. It's a funny, if it's funny, it's okay. We'll talk about it if it's funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I was embarrassed about it, that'd be different. But this was an interesting year because this was the first year that they were going to build a permanent structure at Uranium Springs. And since then, many permanent structures have gone up. But the WCC was doing their post office for the first time. And they put it up, and they did it just like they do at Wasteland. It's a wooden structure, and then it is capped with a tarp for a roof, because roofing is hard. So you just staple on a tarp, and that's your roof for the year, and it's basically destroyed by the end of the event, and you get a new one for next time.
There you go.
And I brought my GP tent. I had a GP tent from the Dukes, and it was just me and my sister staying in there, and I think one other person. I forget who. Sorry, whoever that was. But I go to bed early one night, and then all of a sudden the wind picks up. My tent has no floor, and the flaps are just going crazy, and it's dusting out in there. And I'm like, oh, shoot. So I kind of like just hunkered down in my bed. And then I hear, oh, my God, the post office just flew away. And I'm like, oh, my God, because I knew that Swede and Marie had already gone to bed in the post office. And so I run out, and yeah, the post office is not there. It is gone. And I run up the hill, and Swede and Marie are just in the bed, like looking straight up, scared out of their minds. And I'm like, what happened? He's like, I just watched the whole thing go straight up over us. They're really lucky that it didn't fall back down on them.
Yeah.
Because the way he told it, it went straight up, hovered over them, and then like took off as a sail, like up the hill and over. And there was no sign of it where we were. We actually had to go up over the hill and look down in the ravine to see the remnants of this thing.
Wow.
So anyway, he's like, so we don't have a house. And I said, well, I have this giant GP tent that can fit, 8 people if we do it right. Come live with me for the weekend. And so they did. They moved in. They brought their air mattress, and we got crowded in there. It was going to be a nice luxury tent, and now it had everybody, which was still wonderful. It was just so great to have people around.
Get a spot of tea on.
But yeah, as we're like now going to sleep again, Swede says, "Hey, Mike," and he had something to tell me. I don't remember what it was even. He says, "Hey, Mike," and I misheard him. I said, "Did you just call me Anal Mike?" And he said, "I did now, Anal Mike."
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So that's the name that like 3 people know me as.
Well, this is online unless you edit that out, and it's for the whole world to know. But you'll always be MakeShift to me.
Oh, thanks. Well, the reason I'm telling this story is if someone gives you a name and you don't like it, you can overrule that.
Yep.
You don't have to stick with it.
Yeah.
We had someone in my tribe, and I'm not going to name names again, but a name came up early in the weekend because she didn't have a name yet, and it was one of those like slightly hazy names that sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. This one didn't work, and I could tell that she was a little uncomfortable about it, but she ended up coming up with a different name because I called her by the name that we had bequeathed, and I could kind of see that she was a little uncomfortable with it. I was like, "You don't like that, right?" And she's like, "No." And I was like, "Oh, do you have a different name?" She was like, "Yeah, it's going to be this." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And then from then on, she's that,
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
And that's how it goes. So yeah, Wasteland names. They're a boatload of fun.
But also not essential. I was Justin for the first year.
Yeah, I was Mike for 5 years.
Yeah.
Something like that before MakeShift really like took off.
Yeah. Thankfully it did.
I know. Yeah, it was funny because that year I had already started introducing myself as MakeShift, and so I had the ball rolling before Anal Mike became a possibility.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
People wanted to call me B-roll or cam guy.
B-roll.
So I was like, I'm just gonna hold off on that one. Yeah, see if I can't get something better.
Yep. Yeah, B-roll, brol. What's up, brol?
What's up, bro?
Yeah.
Bro. Tell me, bro.
All right, so what do you got going on for next year? Do you have any big plans?
I don't know for sure. I've thought about making a spectral sluts tribe that is welcome to all new members.
Spectral slut tribe?
Yep. So for any first timers or anyone that doesn't have a tribe, they could say, "Oh, do I need a tribe?" Well, now you're part of the sluts. once you find a tribe, you can move on to them.
Oh, I like that.
So
I like that.
That's a thought. And I've got
So
a...
it's like a temporary tribe for people that are looking for another tribe?
Yeah, just a go-between, if you will.
Yeah, I like that.
And then I'm also trying to design my shade for my camp.
Oh,
and it's going to be made out of old bras.
What, really?
Yep.
That's going to take so many bras.
Oh, trust me, I know. I'm in collection mode right now, and I've got about 30, so I may have a window.
That's hilarious.
But
oh man, well, at least by building it out of bras, you'll have all the support you need for it.
Yeah, I see what you did there.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. Shade is like insanely important. And sometimes you need that double layer shade. Like a tent will become an oven, but a tent under shade will be a wonderful reprieve from the heat.
Yeah. And having a shade that allows wind to pass through it is essential.
Yeah. Sometimes you imagine like, oh shoot, to keep the heat out, I'll seal it up. But no. You actually need that breeze coming through. And that's where you get, what's it called? Evaporative cooling, because as you sweat, the breeze dries you out, which keeps you cool. Mm-hmm. But yeah, for some days, there's no avoiding the heat. And it's kind of wild because like some days in the hottest days is when I do most of my shooting.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Right. And I've definitely like rigged up an umbrella onto my tripod before just so I could have a little shade to go.
Nice.
And that works out pretty well. And then just always like constantly sipping on water all day long. And you can do it. Like it's possible to keep going in the hottest day. But most people, I would say like, that's when most people are basically just biding their time until the sun goes down.
So going to the water aspect and keeping hydrated and all that stuff, I will share my thoughts for the newbies.
Yeah.
Every time I hear, doesn't matter if it's to me or not, if I hear someone say, are you drinking water? Hey, drink water. Hail Hydra. Hydrate. Anything to do with hydration or drinking water, even if it's not to me, I take a sip off my Camelback.
Totally.
And I think I honestly overhydrate myself at Wasteland Weekend.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Basically, if you are not peeing clear, you need to drink more.
Yep.
That's kind of the rule. And I've definitely had my like desert pee, not to be gross or anything, but you get busy, you forget, like you're building camp and you don't have your water on you. You go a couple hours without really drinking, and then suddenly you're peeing gold, and you're like, oops.
Yep.
So it's super important to drink even when you're not thirsty. Because sometimes your body tells you you're not thirsty when you're dehydrated, which is a really weird, like, natural thing that happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's actually, when you're not thirsty, you are already dehydrated. Like, you're going into, what's the medical term for it? Like, actual, like, heat stroke or something like that.
Man, I know camera terms. You think I know anything about medical?
You seem to know a lot of things, is all I'm saying.
Well, don't let that out. I have a reputation to uphold.
Perfect. All right. But yeah, drink water. Drink water. Stay in the shade. Next year I'm actually working on kind of lightening my load again, because here's the thing with certain Wastelanders, like if you find a way to avoid, not avoid, but like if you find a way to do less, like I did less actual shooting the last couple of years, and so I took on more like tribe responsibilities and like built the stage and put up our own live sound and all that. You kind of fill in those gaps. You keep yourself busy. It's a really weird phenomenon that happens. But once again, I'm going to try to like streamline a bit more by not doing our own stage, but by borrowing other stages in order to, because we only do a few shows. Mm-hmm. We did the USO show twice. I think we're gonna just do it once next time. We did the Raiders round, which was a big hit. Everyone enjoyed that. And then we do our roast on Tribes Night. So those 3 shows, we'll just borrow other stages for it, because other people are already setting up great sound systems in like nice shaded areas. Our stage is always like out in the sun. It's the worst place. But yeah, we'll find, if other stages have an hour where we can kind of take over their space, then we'll do that instead. That way I'm not setting up a stage for 2 hours every day. in order to do our own thing. And it'll save some space, and we'll be able to give some space back to like, some other ideas as well.
Yep. And I mean, that's in a lot of ways, that's what Wasteland Weekend is about in the lore as well as in real life. It's about sharing and coming together. So
totally. Exactly. Yeah. And if you don't have someone that can like, basically, you got to outsource a lot of ideas. Sometimes you got to say, hey, tribe, I've got this thing. Is anyone on board for this? And it just so happened that not with the stage, because everyone could kind of help with the building of the stage and bringing chairs over for the shows. But with the actual like soundboard and equipment setup, I was the only one that really knew how to set it up because it was my gear. And so I kind of had to do that. And it was just too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a little bit of outsourcing for next year, and we'll be doing pretty good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. I keep playing with the freaking springs on my microphone holder. Like, I don't know if you can hear it or not, but it's not good technique.
Oh, come on now. At least we both have microphones and stuff.
I know. We're doing good so far. All right. Any other last thoughts? We're about out of time here.
Yeah, I will say that we've definitely drifted from film crew specific, but
yeah,
it's been fun.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess, from us to you, I hope you guys enjoy the videos that we produced this year. It's a lot of work, but it is absolutely such a pleasure. And I don't know if I could do anything else. I don't really ever see myself not being on the video crew one way or another. Mm-hmm. I'm going to experiment with it because I think I'm going to Neotropolis this year.
Ooh, I'm so jealous.
And I will not be volunteering. I will just be attending.
Ooh.
So it'll be a really interesting experiment to see how this goes.
Yeah, I can only imagine. I will say, if I get to go to Neo and be a volunteer, I will probably do it as a photographer, not a videographer.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Before we go, I don't think I ever told you, like, when I got on the volunteer list as a video documentary crew for Wasteland in 2011, I wanted to be a photographer because I was like, oh, that would be pretty easy. Just go around, take some pictures, edit a few, and you're done. Shooting video is about the same amount of work as shooting photography, but the post work is a bit more intensive.
Yeah.
And so I kind of got roped in because a buddy of mine said, hey, we should join the documentary crew. We could absolutely crush it. And I already knew the different workload that would come with that. Mm-hmm. But he talked me into it. And I'm grateful he did. However, about a few weeks before that event, he backed out of it.
Ooh.
I forget why, but he couldn't come. And so then I was like, I didn't know I was going to be like the point man on this, but okay, let's do this. Yep. But yeah, I enjoyed the heck out of it. It's a really great way to assimilate into a new community.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you meet so many people and like, you're a welcomed presence in most places because everyone's like, hey, show off my stuff.
Yeah. Especially at an event like this. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. So I was really happy that it worked out that way because I don't know if I would like have stuck as a photographer. That was back when I was actually doing some photography and it's not my thing. Mm-hmm. I'm not that great of a photographer, even though the principles are very similar.
Ish. I'll let that one slide a little bit. For those of you that don't know, I've been doing photography for 20 plus years and videography for the 5+, and speaking English for about 3 days apparently. But yeah, so I'm adamant on a lot of things, but I'll let that one slide. But I will say this: I wanted to be on the photo team when I first found out about Wasteland, and it just so happened that you had room on your team and photo did not.
Yeah, a lot of photographers have, they don't churn in and out very much. Like we've had a lot of the same photographers for years, because they do a great job and because it's a coveted position. But video crew, for some reason, we get some turnover, and I think it's probably management. Well, I don't know why. Like a lot of people just don't come back.
I mean, the boss is pretty brutal.
I know. I run a tight ship.
Like a whorehouse on the beach. What?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Well, let's wrap it up. Any last thoughts? Tell people where they can find your stuff.
I guess my website, www.tryandflyphotography, TRYNFLY photography. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, now on TikTok, unfortunately. But yeah, basically search Try and Fly Photography on any of your social medias, and most likely you'll find me.
Yeah, and I will link that in the show notes, along with a couple of the highlights reels that Justin's put together, or Spectrum, I should say.
Tomato.
Yeah.
I also respond to dumbass, so you never know.
That's perfect. Yeah. What else? I guess that's it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Of course, if you can like this episode where you're listening, do that. You share it with your friends. Hold on, let me do the actual thing.
And I was going to say, don't forget to support on Patreon. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. All that good stuff.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah, it's patreon.com/theapocalypsepost if you want to help support monetarily. There's always a bunch of perks like early release that you can get there. But the best thing you can do is just keep listening, subscribe, share with your friends. And let me do the thing. I always forget to just do the thing. If you enjoyed today's episode, share it with a friend. But if you hated it, share it with an enemy. And throw a dildo as far as you can in their general direction. That's a reference to an earlier conversation we had.
See, I liked it.
Anyway, thank you again, Justin, for coming along.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely, and I'll see you next year, if not before.
For sure, boss. I'll practice the camera work.
Oh, good God. Thank you so much. All right, guys, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Until then, stay alive.